Cinema Worms.
Discussing everything from Grima Wormtongue to the Shy Halib.
I'm Sabib.
And I'm Lindz.
And this is Cinema Worms Podcast.
So the other film that I saw in my nice little double feature was Die My Love. So this was directed by Lynn Ramsey, who did We Need to Talk About Kevin in 2011, which I really enjoyed. I have not seen any of her others.
Really enjoyed. Yeah. That movie is
but I did really enjoy it. I mean, I really enjoyed the book as well.
No, it's one of it's great. It's just so dark.
Well, I think are you mistaking me saying I enjoyed it for saying I felt pleasure about the characters and the plot?
No, I just wanted to interject that joke there.
What I enjoyed was the masterful way it was done. And I really feel like after I'd read We Need to Talk About Kevin, I did think, how the hell are you going to adapt this? But because it was, how do you get across that unreliable narrator? How do you get across that creepiness? Tilda Swinton does a great job. The Swint is always on point. But anyway, so yeah, back to Die My Love. So now, this is actually based on a novel, again, called Die My Love. Okay, it's technically not actually called Die My Love. The writer, Ariana Harvitz, I believe, I may have this wrong, but the title is not English, and it does not actually translate to English directly as Die My Love, but if you did translate it directly, it would give a major clue about the film, which you don't want to, because otherwise everything becomes a bit pointless. So I understand why they changed it very slightly. However, the poster doesn't really help. There's two different posters for this, and one of them just kind of give a different image than the other. Anyway, now we're following Grace, who is played by Jennifer Lawrence. Of course, she's a very well-known actor at this point. The world's highest paid actress in 2015-16. She was in Your Hunger Games. She's more recently been in what was that fun. I say fun, but it was also kind of terrible in a way. The one where she's like supposed to seduce the child. Do you remember?
Why are you mentioning that movie? Don't speak the name of that film. I hated it. It's stupid.
It was stupid. No Hard Feelings. That's what I'm thinking of. I mean, it was, but basically,
intolerable but stupid.
Since she came out of her kind of Hunger Gamesy franchise stuff and her X-Men things, she's been picking projects that she clearly wants to do. They're not necessarily big blockbusters, but they're more interesting things. So she went and did like Mother, for example. I saw the first 20 minutes or so of Red Sparrow with my parents, and at the point where she is asked in front of a class of people to like sodomize this male spy, I was like, okay, Mum and Dad, you can keep watching this. I think I'll go upstairs. And they kept watching it. So I don't know. They never gave me a review. I don't know what happened. But yeah, so obviously, and then we've got Robert Pattinson opposite her playing Jackson, her partner, who obviously R. Pats has done it again. Was in a big franchise with Twilight, but has done a lot of really interesting things like Good Time. Recently we've seen him in some things. I've actually really enjoyed him in Mickey 17. The supporting cast is Lakeith Stanfield, Nick Nolte, and Sissy Spacek. So this should have been just a blast into orbit, but it wasn't, but not for reasons that you might think. Now, again, it purports to be a black comedy drama. Some people have called it a thriller comedy. I don't know that I would apply either of those. Basically, Grace and Jackson move into Jackson's uncle's house, which is kind of in the country, after he dies. And it's kind of a disaster of a house. You see them sort of in their relationship too. They were both kind of slightly feral and gross together. I actually like the way that Robert Pattinson makes like a bowl of oatmeal in this. Gave me just like I wanted to reach through the screen and punch him.
Wait. Can you explain? Because the other day I made a bowl of oatmeal that was like water and oatmeal.
Oh no, so it's not even oatmeal. I don't know what it is. Basically, imagine that you just stuck your hand in the bowl of cereal and then you just threw it at the bowl.
Why?
So some of the like the flakes or crumbs just scatter all over the counter, and then you just sort of pour some water in, then you stick it in the microwave, and you slam the door really hard, and you never clean up the crumbs, and then later you yell at your partner for not cleaning up, and I'm like, bitch, you made that mess. Anyway, but he is not really to blame a lot of this film. Anyway, we'll get back to the premise. So shortly after they move in, Grace gets pregnant and gives birth to a baby boy, who the couple chooses. They do name him, but she makes a joke at one point. It's not really a joke, but she's very deadpan. But she says, like, someone's like, "What's his name?" And she's like, "Yeah, we chose not to name him." And I'm like, well, honestly, you kind of didn't say his name for a while, so I don't really know. She is supposed to be a writer. We never see anything that she's written. We never hear anything about what she's written. We don't know what she's currently writing when they move in, and she doesn't write anything afterwards. So to me, she's not a writer. It's just a title. As I said to you when I came home, they could have called her a mopper, but we never saw that she had mopped. We do not see her mopping now. She says that maybe she'll never mop again. It has the same impact. I don't know why they bothered. He has a drum kit and he's some kind of musician, but again, we never really see him making any music, so it's sort of hard to know. Essentially, the problem is, the film tries to show us that after the baby is born, Grace feels really isolated and alone. However, I would argue that what other people are kind of trying to diagnose as like postnatal depression is actually something else entirely. And people around her keep seeing her like kind of vaguely unhinged episodes, and she gets quite violent at times, and like picks fights with Jackson and runs around a field and acts like an animal. And I would argue that it's actually something else, but we can kind of get into that. Sissy Spacek is doing her best as Pam, but it's an odd film. I know that the audience was not necessarily enjoying it around me. When we came out, I had some people complaining. I don't think that it's not your typical blockbuster. It looks like it could have been really interesting had it been done a different way. I think Lynn Ramsay had her ideas and wanted to do them. I don't think those always necessarily translated. But then again, I also haven't read the book, so I don't know. What would you like to know about
I mean, you made
film?
some interesting comments about BPD.
Yeah, to me, that's what it. Every time somebody says to her, to Grace at any point, like, oh, it's having a baby is hard, or I remember when I had a baby, I didn't feel like myself afterwards. But you see her just mentally kind of shut down, and it's not until quite a lot later in the film, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but like you realize that actually she's always kind of had these issues. They very much preceded both the baby and Jackson. So to me, it could not possibly be. I mean, it might have been exacerbated, but it struck me as some of the things that she was doing and that you see on screen where I was like, oh, this reminds me of people that I've known who've had BPD. The way that she's reacting to like perceived slights and things, like she's not able to kind of to see that those are not rejections of her as a person. They're maybe just someone being tired or like snappy or not quite, able to provide what she needs in that moment. And he is kind of stressed and shell-shocked by her behavior. And I'm wondering if maybe he didn't quite notice before, or maybe just wasn't as kind of extreme. But he is also maybe not exactly the right partner to deal with those things. He has his own issues.
Borderline personality disorder, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
So sounds like the performances were compelling.
I mean, I found her unbearable to watch. And I think that was kind of the point. But I also found him unbearable to watch for different reasons. I found his despair and his stress levels really difficult to watch. And I found her inability to connect with people and the choices that she makes really difficult to watch. It wasn't a fun experience. And I don't think people around me enjoyed it either. Now, that doesn't say, not to say that it has to be a fun experience. I often like films that are really horrendously stressful and whatever, but yeah, there's something about it that I'm still thinking about it this morning. I don't know, I did understand it, and I think I understand exactly what was supposed to be happening, but I just don't know that it landed for me.
I want to see it. I don't know if I'll go see it on the plane. Sorry, on the plane. I was just thinking about movies on a plane. I meant in the cinema
No,
before I
you
fly
can-
out.
I like that.
Or
idea
I could see it on a plane.
Imagine that you just go to the airport and they're like, flight or cinema today, and you're like, oh no, cinema please. And you just like go into a little plane and watch a movie in a very uncomfortable,
Oh.
brightly lit space.
You know, I will watch. I have now multiple times watched shows and TV with sort of like sex scenes throughout.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you, there's some sex scenes. And also,
and it's so awkward, but I just commit.
Jennifer Lawrence is also repeatedly very nude in this. So if you are of a prudish nature or watching it on a screen in public, maybe, keep that in mind. She's just fully wandering around.
Hey, if it's on the plane's options,
Mm-hmm.
and I happen to want to watch that TV show or movie, don't judge me, person seated next to me with their child.
How dare you bring a child on my mobile cinema?
No, usually what I'll do is if I want to, I'll just turn it off, or I'll turn the brightness super down.
Can you do that? I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, I probably won't watch this on a plane then if she's nude frequently.
She is nude frequently. Also, I feel like there should be a trigger warning for some animal harm and animal death, and also some like personal physical harm as well. So if you have, there's also some what I would describe as jump scares that actually scared me more than any horror film. Because they were so unexpected. I think the most egregious thing, the thing that really put me off this film, I actually think I might have liked it a lot more or appreciated a lot more. The score is atrocious. It is constantly so, and I actually was really because I was seeing it in a small screen in the Cameo, because this was not a wide release. This was not in our local Cineworld. You would have had to go to Falkirk for that, and I like Lynn Ramsay, but I'm not going to go to Falkirk for her. And the songs that are played are turned up so loud that it felt like a physical blow every time one of the angrier ones came on. They're constantly like playing music and either dancing around or screaming through it. And there were some quieter ones, but my God, it was like, okay, you didn't have to have it up this loud, bloody hell.
So the sound mixing,
the sound mixing
is
purposefully designed to, and everything in this film is designed to mimic a person unraveling, and a person who is sensitive to basically everything happening, and everything happening is kind of designed to wind a person right the hell up. And it wound me right the hell up, and I was like, oh, I'm really struggling with the sound, the levels and the music used as well. It was just a lot to be done.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's interesting and enough, so I might check it out, but thank you for going to see it.
I do think I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because I'm glad we didn't see it together and we were able to see it, because I think it's one of those films that I kind of want to sit with. I'm really interested to see what Kermode thinks of it.
Yeah, I was about to say that. We'll check out Kermode
I'm
after
wondering.
this.
I mean, it is, somebody on Reddit called it Night Bitch for cinephiles, and I laughed. And it wasn't completely wrong. Like, it is kind of. I mean, I think it's better than Night Bitch, but like, yeah, it's a little bit in some ways. So if you like Night Bitch, but you consider yourself an auteur, perhaps Die My Love is for you.
Today we're discussing Keeper, which is the latest film released by Osgood Perkins, horror film director. And this came out 2025, obviously folk horror. It's directed by Perkins, written by Nick Leppard, and I didn't hear
Good name.
Yeah,
Nick Leppard.
Yeah, without the O. Without the O.
Oh, he sounds like a spy.
Yeah, maybe it's Leppard. Even more spy-like. And apparently, Perkins had come up with the idea. I didn't do tons of research into this to see how it logistically worked, but because it was the strike at the time, Nick Leppard wrote it. And the film stars Tatiana Maslany, Rossif Sutherland, Burkett Turton, and Eden Wise. So the beginning of the film, and by the way, Perkins is known for such recent films as Longlegs and The Monkey, which was my favorite horror film. Yeah. I love The Monkey, and that also starred Tatiana Maslany. And apparently,
did it?
Yeah, she played the mother.
Oh, I completely forgot.
She's of Orphan Black fame.
Yes, of course. Oh my God, I completely forgot she was in that.
Apparently, they finished filming Keeper on a Friday and started filming The Monkey on a Monday.
Oh, wow. But the monkey came out first, so...
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder
Which,
how that...
as you will see,
Oh, poor Tatiana.
it feels like the more developed film.
Okay.
So the intro to this film, Keeper, is this sort of dreamy montage of women through time, 4 or 5 of them. You're going from shot to shot of these women and the camera is a POV, so it's very much feeling like from the perspective of someone, probably the same person, seeing all of these women through time. And at first they're happy, then they're upset. They seem to have grown more intimate with this mysterious viewer. And then finally we come to these final shots of the women screaming and covered in blood. And then we cut to modern day, and we're following this couple, Malcolm, who's a doctor, and his girlfriend Liz, who's a painter. And they've been together for a year, and we're dropped into the middle of their life. Basically, they're going to the boyfriend Malcolm's secluded cabin in the woods for their first year anniversary. And it's much more than a cabin, really. It's quite a large house, extremely modern. It's all like glass, huge glass walls, strange angles, crevices. It's extremely...
in a cabin.
It's giving rich. It's giving rich. And it's in the middle of the woods. So they arrive there, and it's just kind of creepy from the jump. Liz seems to start having, let's just say, hallucinations, visions, weird premonitions straight off the bat. And it doesn't help when they get this weird boxed cake left by a quote-unquote housekeeper that you never see. And that Malcolm is like, yeah, eat the cake. And then when she eats the cake, I feel like it doesn't help with the whole haunting aspect of what's going on. Things just get stranger. She starts losing time and reality. Then we also there's a cabin right near them, another huge cabin where his Malcolm's cousin lives. And his cousin just comes into the house occasionally, their house, barges in. He's obnoxious, he's creepy. There's this undertone of violence to him. And yeah, it's, let's just say, as Liz has more visions, she starts to see these women screaming from the past. You start to see that there's something darker going on from her that's been triggered by her arrival. So I don't want to give away any more because I didn't even know that going in.
So we had seen the trailer multiple times, and in the trailer you kind of see the same thing sort of twice, right? So you see it first from quote unquote Liz. It actually has quotation marks around her name, which I thought was really odd. So it was Liz's perspective. And then you see very much the same dialogue and similar scenes from Malcolm's perspective. Malcolm does not have quotation marks around his name. And I thought that was kind of an interesting clue straight away about what was going on. That Liz is either like not her real name, or she's sort of interchangeable in some way. And of course it doesn't really show you much. It's quite a long trailer, it doesn't show you much more than that, but it seems to be that's what's playing out in the first bit with all these women, is you're like, I guess she's part of something.
Yes.
Kind of bigger,
some lineage of women.
Some lineage of women. What now, of course, you love the monkey so much. How does this rank in Perkins' filmography for you?
Well, first let me answer the question about the trailer. Perkins said in an interview that it was actually Neon, that the production company that designed that trailer, and then he can just give notes. Basically, they do like most of it, and he gives notes. Yeah. So it was pretty much their idea to present the film that way. I would say it does. I don't want to give anything away, but I wouldn't say that that's like a direct, accurate representation of the film in terms of POVs and what's real or not. It's the quote-unquote Liz kind of makes sense by the end, but I would say the trailer doesn't add too much to your actual understanding of the film, which is fine, whatever. Which
is good, because I really hate a lot of trailers that give away basically everything, including the ending. And you're like, well, okay, why did I see like the film then, if you've basically done that? It's just supposed to give a taste, but you think it's not a particularly accurate taste?
No, except some of the montage in the beginning is just in the trailer. Okay. So in terms of how Osgood Perkins, now like quite a renowned and famous horror director, how does this rank in his films that have come out recently? I would say it's my least favorite, and it feels the most unfocused. But I still enjoyed watching it. It is a very strange film, while also not being that complex if you think about it. That's not the goal. It's not. I think he was trying to go for something quite obscure and dreamy and off kilter, not necessary in terms of any revolutionary plotting aspects. Although the plot as it unfolds, you realize there is an interesting secret underneath all of this. So it is interesting. Let's just say it's in the vein of like Barbarian, but not as like absurdist funny at points. It's more folk horror coded, but in some of the stylistic choices and editing choices, I think it actually makes things messier rather than more artful.
Okay.
So when you have transitions between shots and scenes that like blur and fade and spin, and you go in and out of like, oh, is this real, is this a hallucination? When you have these strange interactions between her and her boyfriend and her and her friend on the phone, it makes them seem not like, oh, this is just darkly funny. It makes them seem kind of not real.
Yeah.
I had this sense of like, oh, people don't talk like this. And of course you can have in The Monkey, they speak a lot of times in a very like arch way, or a very like sarcastic or strange way.
It felt a bit like Stephen King's Snark in The Monkey.
Yeah.
But again, so what in The Monkey, which I did see and I didn't see Keeper, but The Monkey does feel more like, here's the central premise, here's quite a linear narrative, it is about the monkey, we're kind of just
very
that.
focused.
Yeah. Whereas the trailer did make me think, okay, so at least one of these people is an unreliable narrator, but it sounds like it was more dreamy than that. Like maybe the film itself is an unreliable narrator.
It does feel like that for a good portion of the film.
Yeah.
You kind of don't know what to focus on. There's all these scary moments, and there's this like rich seeming presence of something scary present there, but you don't know what it is. I actually found the boyfriend character kind of difficult because Tatiana, it's not that his acting necessarily, maybe Tatiana Maslany is amazing.
She is incredible.
Yeah.
That's almost unfair to him because,
Yeah.
If you put anybody, I mean, she played in Orphan Black, she played like multiple different characters so believably that they were almost different people, like you fully felt they were different people. So to put anybody who's not like an absolute top-notch A-lister, like who's at the top of their game up against her, you're always kind of running into, well, can they keep up with her? But does that work for his character, or did you feel like that was where the weakness was?
I think it could be the way his character is written and the way he performed it. Okay. I think there was a weakness in that you don't know much about them. And for her, that's okay. She can imbue her character with like insecurity and lots of reactions to what's happening. So you kind of get a sense of her. She's a bit rebellious, but then she has this maybe like trauma or something, you don't know. He just seems to not be there.
Yeah.
He does not seem present. The camera seems to slide off of him. He doesn't offer much. He is too obscure. He does not stay present in your mind. And as the main other character, she's really the main character, so that's fine. Yeah. It doesn't work.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of him.
Let me ask you a question then. If you could replace him with any other actor, like who would you choose? And second to be, do you think that would have made the character work?
Ooh. I mean,
who do you think would have been good in that role that would have made you really believe it?
I immediately thought this is too creepy and it wouldn't work because Theo James played her son. Well, like they didn't act in the same scenes, but like he was her son in The Monkey. But someone like Theo James, who, well, he's prettier, so that would have changed things. But who has a bit of like sparkle in their eye, who is a little bit more make a stand, have an emotion, be menacing, give meaningful looks, give
what
us
about
something.
Jamie Dornan then, as somebody who really can do menacing very well.
Jamie
Who's
Dornan
equally pretty, but can do menacing in a horrible way.
Yeah, someone like Jamie Dornan. I mean, they don't look like this guy at all, but yes, someone like that, because you needed that to give the film a little more of the substance to hold on to.
Okay. So I guess, are we recommending that then?
I think if you're a fan of Osgood Perkins, it's not an unpleasant viewing experience, and it's so strange and bizarre, and it has some interesting imagery and vibes that it's worth watching, but I don't think it'll be your favorite.
Okay. Okay. Well, Cinema Worms fans, if you do see this film, let us know in the comments below.
Please, please.